Twenties, the decade where the world keeps handing you contradictory instruction manuals. Build your career, but also travel. Save for future, but live your best life now. No wonder why we feel stuck. I tried to do it all, check every box, follow every path, and ended up leaving it all behind. I moved back to my hometown to hit pause. By the end of this video, you will see why your 20s aren't about chasing checklists at all, and what they are really for. Let's first address the elephant in the room. Nearly every message that you have received about your 20s is based on a world that no longer exists. Our parents and grandparents lived in a world that rewarded early commitment and linear progression. Graduate college, get an entry-level job, get married, get a kid, and preferably all before 30. The goalposts that defined adulthood were linear and clear. Deviation from this life path was risky. But here's what people are not ready to admit yet. That world does not exist anymore. The average person in their 20s today will have 12 to 15 jobs in their lifetime, compared to their grandparents' 2 or 3. The median age of marriage has jumped from 21 to 30. Home ownership for people under 35 has dropped nearly 20% in a single generation. The traditional markers of success have not just moved, they have been completely abolished. So, if the old playbook is broken, what's the new one? I call it the identity laboratory. Your 20s is not a race to accumulate more relationships, more assets, or more credentials. They're a laboratory designed for experimentation, discovery, and integration. People who treat their 20s as an identity laboratory don't just survive their 20s. They make it something profound by intense self-discovery. They don't build 5-year plans. They don't anchor their worth to arbitrary timelines. Instead, they cultivate inner integrity. Although I should also tell you about the terrors of lying awake at night and thinking whether I made a profound mistake by prioritizing self-discovery over traditional success benchmarks. You should know about the voice that told me I was falling behind, that everybody else has everything figured out, and that exploration is just a failure in disguise. But I should also tell you about the clarity, the freedom I experienced trying to build a life that fits me, instead of making myself squeeze into the one that I was supposed to want. So how do we actually run this laboratory? Not by mere contemplation, but with real-life experiments. I've distilled everything I learned in the last 5 years and my own trial and errors into 5 experiments that you can do to completely transform your 20s. First, uncover your internal navigation system. Take some time. Write down every shoot that you absorbed from the cultures, be it your parents, TV, school, social media. Then write down moments that you felt completely alive, irregardless of its utility, validation, or success. What values are at play here? For me, this process revealed how much I valued curiosity, lifelong learning, and creativity, although I have not been able to exercise it growing up. And it's the reason you're watching this video. Second, don't make the same mistake twice. Test your options before committing to them. The culture tells us that exploration is risky and commitment is safe. But premature commitment is riskier. Solution? Design minimum viable experiments. Shadow someone a day that you find their job interesting. Go take a class before you commit to graduate school. Take a working trip to a place that you want to live. Each minimum viable experiment can give you data about yourself that no amount of thinking could ever do. Third, connect the dots. Without reflection, experiences and experiments stay random. With integration, they become part of us, part of our identity. Something I like to do that I call connect the dots sessions is I reflect back on the experiments that I had to try to excavate the values, the strengths, and the needs that they all revealed about myself, and how I can use that information and that data in my future experiments. Fourth, my favorite, seek discomfort on purpose. Not reckless risks, but controlled challenges. It can be even the smallest things. Have the hard conversation. Try a new instrument that you are terrible at. Put yourself somewhere that you're not the expert at. As you push towards the edges of your being, your circle of comfort increases. And that increases the possibilities in your life. Finally, I think all the frameworks that I will give in this channel will end with find the others, meaning find your tribe. I call them the becoming circles because sometimes when you're going through an identity change or trying to experiment and build a life that is outside of the default scripts, it's not easy to find people who are in the same journey as you in your immediate surroundings. So seek them out and create these becoming circles with people who are experiencing similar contexts. This way, you can share insights, normalize the uncertainty that you are experiencing. What feels isolating alone can become transformative together. A meaningful life is not built by ticking the right boxes at the right time. It's built through the messy and non-linear process of becoming someone who makes choices from a place of profound self-knowledge. And that's the work of your 20s. So stop treating your 20s as a race towards arbitrary timelines and start treating them as the identity laboratory that they actually are. I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks, and I stopped measuring my 20s by what I accumulated. I stopped apologizing for being in process because I realized that's the only thing we can ever be, a one long becoming, as Glennon Doyle says. I stopped treating exploration as a luxury, and that's when everything changed. Because as the Carl Jung says, the privilege of a lifetime is becoming who you truly are. I've also created a video on quarter life crisis that I will link here if you are experiencing one and would like to get more information on the process. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and send it to a friend who is going through their 20s.